Hello, welcome everybody. Hey Steve, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Archie?
It's going well. Thanks everybody for being here for episode 9 of the MidLyfe Gaming Podcast. Uh, it's been a weird week for me. Has it been a weird week for you too, Steve?
Um, Weird. I won't say weird. It's been busy, busy as
Yeah, oh
all
yeah.
hell, but
I guess it's better than being bored, right?
it is
Sometimes.
definitely better than being bored, buddy.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and get on into the news then, Steve. First
Let's
up,
do it.
we have the older PlayStation stores are closing this summer. One of the things that this brings up is, what happens to all those purchases that have been made on those older consoles? Some of them do transfer over, but I personally know from experience that some won't, because I have a Final Fantasy VII title floating in the abyss somewhere that I paid for on PS3 and I've never seen it again.
Oh, geez, that sucks.
Yeah. Are you going to feel this impact at all? You don't really hang around in the PS3 or even the handheld environment, do you?
Yeah. Luckily, in this instance, I do not hang out in the PlayStation ecosystem at all. Kind of my philosophy for man, I can't even remember how many years of gaming now has been that I play multi-platform games on PC as much as possible. I play console exclusives that happen to be on both consoles on Xbox, and then I play any exclusive that is obviously Sony on Sony. So usually Sony, I only play my exclusives on there. They last, they're always some type of one and done campaign type game,
Right.
nothing multiplayer. So it's pretty easy for me just to play it that once, get my trade in value. I put that in towards the next one I decide to pick up, and that's how I rolled through. That's one of the few reasons I still go to GameStop is because I buy all of my PlayStation games physical. So
Yeah, because I mean that's definitely a good situation. See, I like to amass a collection of like titles that really hold my interest. So like I still have like all my Gears of War titles, including the one that came out on PS4.
oh wow.
But I have another friend, Justin, who is exactly like that. He will play most of his games, the majority, on his Xbox, and then for the exclusives, he'll play on the PlayStation environment, like
Yeah.
the recent God of War. But he does occasionally buy a couple of titles for the PS3. I know that he's going to probably be interested in this story as well. Um, I'm not too sure if they are going to be doing some type of like, oh, link your account in this specific type of manner, and then we'll be able to get all your transfers over. Or if everything's going to be fine, they pull a Wii situation where you still own everything that's on your current console. Uh, you just can't buy new stuff. And hopefully that's the
Yeah.
road it goes down. But I don't know how it's going to operate if they're taking down the entire store, including the authentication part of it.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about this to speak more intelligently on it, but I would think, like, at least for Xbox, for instance, when you go to your account on Xbox.com or Microsoft.com, every purchase you've ever made is listed inside of there,
Yep.
whether it's all the way back to 360 or whatever. So if it is similar to that, then it's only a matter of will they have a way for you to access that and still like send to your console or download from your, like how Xbox you can click link, send a console it sends. I don't know if they have the same thing for Sony or not. It sucks that the stores are closing though, especially if the things just get delisted completely. I don't know if the article mentioned that or not. If it's getting delisted completely, then it's like your SOL.
Let's see. PS
Hello,
Vita
Doctor
store.
Pretender.
Thanks for
What's
showing
up?
up, Dr. Pretender. Let's see. Do. Just quickly glancing here. So you're not going to be able to purchase content anymore from them, including games and videos. You'll no longer be able to make in-game purchases. So, I mean, that'll be a struggle for any free-to-plays that are still trying to survive on the PS3 environment. I don't know of any on the PS Vita. And this is one of those things that like we can talk about here in the States a lot, and it doesn't truly impact us from a sales numbers. I mean, you can just see it whenever you stack up those sales numbers when you compare us towards Sony's home stomping grounds in Japan, where the Vita is very much a still used, still in a lot of pockets over there. Um, I don't know. It'll probably hit them a little bit harder, but this would not be the first time this has happened. Obviously, the Wii has happened. They had an online store, but they just delisted it from the storefront. And if you have it, you have it. But there's no way to re-download it once if you're Wii bricks and you buy a new Wii on the aftermarket, you're just kind of stuck unless you do a hardware mod or software mod on it to get those back.
Hmm.
But this does bring up the very real concept of why a lot of people, myself included, do not buy digital titles unless that's like the only option for that game, because they have every right to just go yoink and it's no longer yours. So I would much rather have the physical disc, which I think you've brought it up too in the past when we've talked about this, that nowadays it doesn't even matter because the day one patch is so critical and you can only get that through a network connected console.
Yeah. Yeah, my big thing on it. So I get where you're coming from, and there's a lot of people in the community who are the same way about digital versus, physical. There are some things that I will buy physical, but it's usually because it's like a collector's edition or something like that. But a lot of that is just the way I consume games. Like, I know some people that are like, well, if I was you buy in digital is basically like saying, it could go away at any point, something like that. You lost your money, whatever the case is. But with physical, it's just I know my playstyle. I'm not gonna go back and play it. Like maybe it'd be cool to let a friend borrow it or something like that. But even that's become so uncommon these days, really. With the actual game share programs and things of that nature, it definitely is a real issue. Being able to lose access. But in the same breath, kind of the way I look at it is the games that I buy digitally is because it's a multiplayer game. So if it's on console, if it's something single player one and done, I always buy it physical because I'm going to use that
Right.
trade in value towards the next time I want another one and done experience. And then with the multiplayer stuff, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter if it's an online multiplayer game. It doesn't really matter. The server shuts down because I'm not going to be able to play it anyway, even if I did have it physical. So that's been kind of my mythology behind it. But being, I'm a much bigger PC gamer these days than I am on console. So everything there's going to be digital. So I kind of just gotten used to that whole lifestyle. I've gotten used to that whole that's going to be the way things are going to be. And occasionally you're gonna miss out. I actually had a couple of games back in the day, even on Steam, that have got delisted. That for whatever reason, either I refunded it or I'm not able to get it any longer. And those kind of suck because you think of
Right.
Steam as being such a big reputable marketplace that probably wouldn't happen as much there. But when it's a contract or a licensing issue, it's gonna happen. There's nothing they can do about it, which is one of the big benefits you do get from physical. So if it's something you care about that much, just buy it physical. But if you think it's something you really don't, it's good to have it. But especially with the backwards compatibility, like that's really been a big thing for a lot of people this generation was being able to bring your digital library from the prior gen over to the new gen.
Yeah, I mean, it's still crazy to think that one competitor can bring their games all the way from the original Xbox up to modern day. And obviously it's a very significantly chopped down list of titles, but it's doable. It's a thing
Yeah.
that happens. They do update frequently that list of Xbox original titles that you can play on your Series X, and they can take advantage of some of the aspects of the hardware. And then you have Sony, who and I get it from a architecture standpoint on the console itself. I understand why they can't do emulation sometimes. It They just go off the wall. And in part you kind of want those off the wall people in the damn, what's the word? It In the
Uh,
gaming industry, basically
yeah.
you want those people that are not going to shackle themselves to the past in order to help build a better tomorrow for gaming. Not that Xbox is doing that. I feel like they're doing great on stepping up, next gen, the next gen. Sony is doing great. They have no issue with just going, ignore everything that we've done before. We're going to start from scratch on this new piece of hardware. And how do we make this great for gaming? Like, I remember
Yeah,
watching a ton of the PS4 development diaries, and it was great stuff to be like in behind the scenes with them. And what's that main guy? Tim, I think. I can't
Tim
remember.
Schafer.
Maybe, yeah. Um, it's just interesting stuff to see. But yeah, I mean, not having access to a thing that you definitely paid real world money for is something that you got to look out for. You got to weigh the pros and cons of it. Like, do you like not carrying around a bunch of Switch carts? Then sure, go ahead, buy yourself a SD card and fill that bad boy up with online purchases. But if
Yeah,
you don't want to run the risk of having another Wii situation, then don't do it. Get the hard copy then.
yeah, and it's going to happen more and more because to be completely honest, like people whine and complain about this so much, but at the end of the day, they're going to buy the console anyway. Like,
Yeah.
and these studios, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they're not dumb. They know you're going to buy it. They know you're going to bitch and whine for a little bit, but you're going to get over it. And if you don't get over it, you're just going to buy the re-release that they eventually do for the new hardware anyway.
Yeah,
So
and then buy the limited edition hardware that comes out with that
yeah,
re-release.
and honestly, I'll say for the few people we do have watching, and one day when we're big and famous, and people are going back and watching our old episodes, like you guys got to stop holding on to this baggage. Like
Yeah.
we said, just buy the physical thing, keep your old physical console, and play it that way. Because really, what you're doing is so you're saying, hey, please include this hardware that's necessary for you guys to have backwards compatibility with X number of systems, which is an additional cost into the system itself that you're causing them to want to put in there. And Xbox does because they know they have more of a perception and reputation to hold up to. They're the underdogs, so they have to be the fan favorite.
Hmm.
Whereas Sony could just say, nah, you're gonna follow us and do whatever we want. So when we do this, we're holding the hardware back from what it really could be. Like it could be so much more, but it's got this extra expense in it. And because gamers are so finicky when it comes to price, like no one wants to ever do another 599 console, so they want to just avoid that whole meme altogether.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're trying to hit a certain price point, and when you force them, it's like saying, "Hey, please have a I don't even fucking know, like just some stupid thing that you want them to put in, and it's just going to raise the cost, and it's just going to limit what they are able to do. So just
I
keep that in
demand
mind."
a TV remote with my PlayStation.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. It's just I hate to get so angry, but it's just like it's really frustrating because you see these arguments happening all the time, and
Oh yeah.
people burst out with the stuff into outer space or whatever, into the void they scream into, but they don't understand the business stuff behind it that leads to the same stuff that they're screaming about, and it's
Right.
because of your feedback loop. Like, hey, we want our cake and to eat it too. Well, you're not gonna. It's gonna be
Yeah.
stale cake.
Yeah.
That's what's
It's
gonna
gonna be a
happen.
stale cake, or you're gonna get half a cake. One of the two. It's
Half a
gonna be the
cake.
fresh ass cake, but it's gonna be half of one.
Yeah. Look at Tom. I used to really enjoy shopping for the hard copy at GameStop. Made me feel like the old Blockbuster days.
Oh
I
man.
agree, dude. There's something
Good
really
times, the
cool about
Blockbuster
that.
days.
Yeah, like just going and GameStop too. Like when you were a kid and before the internet was so prolific and everything had a huge hype cycle, like you really did find games just by walking into those places. Now
Oh
you pretty
yeah.
much know about everything.
Yeah, I remember the mall that's over by us back in the day used to have a an EB Games as well as a GameStop. So you would run the one and go,
Yeah.
"Oh, they have this demo and that demo and this demo." And then you could listen to your favorite CDs there cuz
Oh yeah.
who didn't have CDs at the time, I guess. And then you would
Yeah.
just like sprint with your friends over to the other GameStop. And
And KB Toys.
yeah, and
Can't forget
KB
about that.
KB Toys, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you would just play all the random demos, and you would get a good vibe for what game you were about to harass your parents for the next
Yeah.
6 months.
Uh, Absolutely. Dr. Pretender in chat said, that's one of the reasons I'm not big into consoles. I have like 20-year-old PC games I can still play no issues, which is very true. Sometimes you got to do a little rigging to get them to run, if it's like a Windows 95,
Mm-hmm.
XP, any of those really.
DOS box it.
But yeah, compatibility mode, DOSBox it, any of that stuff. There's this game by, I I think it was Lionhead Studios. It was either Lionhead or Lionheart, but it was the Peter Molyneux studio, the guy who did
Yeah,
Fable. It's
Lionhead.
called the movies, and it was a RPG, or kind of like RPG, like Sims like thing, but you
Hmm.
built movie studios and you
I
did all that
remember
kind of
this
stuff.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good, man. But no one has ever like tried to re-envision that I've seen. And now I'm going to do a search for that after the podcast today. But no one's tried to reimagine that. So there's so many times I've reinstalled that. I think the original one came out like 2005, 2006 or something. It was old when I played it back in like 2006.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I've reinstalled that probably 4 or 5 times in the 10 years since that's come out, 15 years or something now. Um, so yeah, absolutely, Dr. Pretender, you're absolutely correct about that. That is a big benefit the PC gaming.
Yeah, the old PC game that I go back to every once in a while is Spore, and I know they do have
Oh
some
yeah,
compatibility patches that have been released by EA, but
yeah,
I mean, for the most part, you have to run that in compatibility mode for Windows Vista or something along those lines in order to get it playing, well with your current modern day hardware.
yeah.
All right, well
Gotcha.
let's skip on over to the next one. Happier news. We got Steam Next Fest coming in June. Will feature
Ooh,
hundreds of game demos. Now, I don't know if this is a new take on what they used to do, which is just the game festival, which kind of was low key unless you were opening up Steam all the time.
yeah.
Um, I don't know
Yeah, it
of.
says right there in the second paragraph.
Oh,
This
yep,
is
Steam
their
Game Festival.
new
Yep.
name. Yep. Cool.
So new name. So I wonder if this is gonna make any real changes to the whole thing. Um, I don't know. They don't really deal. Steam doesn't really deal with corporate partnerships really that much, do they?
They do everything, and this is kind of one of the big benefits about Steam is that one, they make so much fucking money as it is. Like
Yeah.
they don't really. It doesn't seem like they chase a ton of advertisements. And two, because it is a game marketplace, even in itself, the way their advertisements are laid out, most of the time you probably wouldn't even know if you're just seeing something naturally as an advertisement or if it's just something that showed up in like a top selling list or something like that. So I really do like the way they display their content on there. There probably is a better way to do the game festival. To your point, you were saying it's not really something that is huge and in your face. That's
Hmm.
really because Steam is so self-contained. Like they don't, I don't think
Yeah.
they even have a YouTube channel anymore. I'm not sure. I know like their Steam, like they do have a Steam Twitter account. Like there was something very weird. I know when I was looking for it before, they didn't have a presence on there at all. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. But then, it's again, they know that you're going to be, if you're a PC gamer, 99.9% of the time,
You're on there.
you're probably going to be on Steam. So
Absolutely.
the only thing I would like to see though, and maybe this will come, I don't know if you've ever tried the beta versions of Steam out, but they're trying to do a lot more community stuff. So like the library tab shows a lot more community things in it now. I think that maybe that's like the hub that they need. They need like the first thing you see when you load into Steam is like something that takes you directly into like the virtual expo hall, and oh, here's this
Yeah.
over here, here's that over there, that kind of stuff. But
I would
we'll see.
like a like so Steam has the big screen mode, but I would
Yeah,
like something more along those lines because those interfaces that are in there do feel more tuned to someone who's looking for a lot of the information about a game. What are my friends doing in this game? That type of deal. Who has screenshots in here?
yeah,
That type of information. Um,
yeah,
which a lot of it is in the normal Steam client, but I don't know. It just feels like you go in to play a game. So you open Steam, you hit your library, you hit play. If you don't already have the shortcut on your desktop. So I don't know. I hope that there's. I don't want anything intrusive. Like I don't want 800 pop-ups in the bottom right of my monitor going, "Hey, Steam Game Fest is coming out right now." You're
yeah,
like, "All right, go away. I'm not watching this." But
yeah,
like you said though, their marketing is so non-obtrusive that it's difficult to tell the difference between when they're doing a show like game festival and when they're just like, oh, here's the game that we recommended you, their developer just so happens to be streaming right now, have fun.
yeah. I will say, so there's a couple we got to give them a little slack. So for last year, I don't know if the dates were the same, probably were because it was in place of like E3 type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But last year they had maybe 3 months total to prepare. Probably not even that because most people were like, oh yeah, COVID's not even being taken seriously,
Right.
like March and April of last year. So if you figure May, June, they had maybe 2 months to plan total.
Right.
Whereas now they've had a full year and some months to plan for, for this eventual thing that happens. So I think even the fact that this news is coming out here in March and the festival itself isn't even happening until noon like that or until June, that tells us that they probably are going to put a lot more effort into it this year. They probably did get some advertising, opportunities with some of the bigger publishers, I would hope. Even though Kilo's doing his own thing, so maybe they're going to hold off for that. Steam has geared more towards the indie stuff, but a lot of the big publishers will still just take that opportunity to put stuff on sale, maybe put out a
Right.
trailer or something like that.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah, I'm excited to see what happens though.
yeah, that June date does definitely put it in direct competition with everybody else that's trying to do a summer type
Yeah,
gaming event now.
yeah. So I'm
So,
gonna think. I'm guessing this is probably going to be more towards the double A and indie type games, which I'm fine with for Steam. That is probably the best thing about Steam. That's like we were talking earlier when we were putting together show notes. Like, I go through my discovery queue all the time to find just random stuff that I would never see any other place.
like the raccoon game from last week.
Like the raccoon game. Yeah, that's like the equivalent of Tom's, going in the GameStop is going through the discovery queue now.
Yep. All right, well, let's mosey along over to the next item, which is Microsoft is cutting the Xbox Live Gold requirements for party chat and free to play multiplayer. The first one I didn't even know was a requirement to have voice chat. You had to have Xbox Live Gold just to have party
Yeah,
chat.
I don't remember that, but it is possible. Well, I guess it definitely was. Yeah, this is just good news. A lot of people would complain about this, especially when the popularity of Fortnite starts
Mm-hmm.
surging. And it's one of the things we've actually talked about. I never made this video, but one thing I wanted to do was like for parents, deciding between getting your kid a PS5 and like the Xbox. And like for me, it was always going to be Xbox hands down because it's one of those consoles. Like if I'm a grandma, I can buy little Johnny. Here's the Xbox. Here's a $50. I spend $50. I get the Xbox Live for a year,
Mm-hmm.
or not even for the Xbox Live for a year, but you get that and the Game Pass for
Right.
a
The
year.
ultimate.
That kid, parents never have to buy him another game for the entire year. He's going to be playing
Yep.
Fortnite. He's going to be playing all those games. He's going to be downloading crap from Game Pass. So this is just another step in the right direction. I think for them is another one of those things where okay, maybe little Johnny can't even afford Xbox Live Gold and yeah, that's really it. Like he can't even afford Xbox Live Gold, but he can still play with his friends and still hop into party chat with them just like everybody else could.
Just
So I
hang
think
out.
yeah, I mean that's great because there is no reason for the Xbox Live service and the what is it, the PlayStation Network service to
Right.
be a cost further than be a cost thing. You're using your own internet connection. In some cases, you are using the developer servers and things like that, but that's supported by the sales of the game and by the DLC and stuff that you purchase. This
Mm-hmm.
is just another revenue stream for them, and it's not even really one that they need. Honestly, they can make their money elsewhere. Again, like the customization items and things like that, I think are a bigger thing they could be doing because they used to be huge in the 360 era, but it's died down in this era. And it's not because people don't want it, it's because they haven't put the effort in. Obviously, Fortnite is showing that people want it.
People want
Obviously,
the skins. Yeah.
yeah. And me, like, my God, like, just because of the way things are going with like my flight simulator stuff, like my Steam list is getting huge every day by like the friends and stuff. And there are a ton of people who put a whole lot of effort into their Steam profiles, which is another thing where you don't directly buy thing or you don't directly buy customization items on Steam, but it shows that people do want that. So Xbox could be doing
Right.
the same thing without this funny business with live. But
Yeah,
hey, this is
I do think
it's
it's
good stuff
interesting that Microsoft seems to be shifting the way they're playing the game.
they're
So
smart.
from
You got to
the
get ahead of it.
beginning of the era of time of people having currency to spend on things, the whole mantra has been I give you money, you give me thing. And now it's more along the lines of like let me just subscribe. We hit that whole subscribe to a service thing, and that's kind of coming back now too with Paramount and HBO Max now entering the game. But now it seems like Microsoft is trying to figure out what that next step is, where they're like, okay, we could either increase the price of our games, or we could look at this as a whole. When we distribute digital titles, we're not distributing a single thing. We're taking this one thing and we're making it thousands of things on local Xboxes that we don't have to support from a management stance. At least we don't have to support them. So it's not our electric bill, it's not our anything along those lines. So they're getting all of this income for materials because people are buying digital now. uh they don't have to crank out as many physical copies anymore. So they're
Yeah.
able to find that cost savings for themselves, as well as increased sales, because they're like, oh hey, yeah, just get a Game Pass Ultimate and it'll be on day one. Anything from us, it's day one on there. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
And it calculates out to be so much more money towards Xbox as well as towards the developers, that it's crazy that no one else has picked up on this idea, this concept yet.
Oh yeah, it's just there's a lot of work that goes into it, like
Yeah.
for the non-Xbox titles. So I get that for the Game Pass stuff, like you have to pay those developers a certain percentage, but they have the absolute best ecosystem. They are the best platform. Like I don't care what people say. Like the only thing that's unfortunate is that the PS5 is so expensive. Like it
Yeah.
because realistically, like you don't need it. Like they do have that one little box that they could check off against Microsoft, which is they have better exclusives, but it's not that many to where it justifies the cost. Like it's always a joke to me when I get my PlayStation end of year like play stats, because some years there has been nothing I've played whatsoever. Like last year, I think I played maybe one or two games. I think Last of Us 2, and there's maybe one other exclusive I can't even think of off the top of my head, but yeah, PlayStation is like in Xbox when it comes to everything else except for the exclusives. Honestly, like the platform itself is just perfect, and the ecosystem is what things should be. It's
Yeah,
how
I don't have any complaints for the Xbox Live ecosystem.
yeah
Uh
they did it.
yeah, other than my wife and I have like a family mode turned on for our Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which includes Xbox Live. But there are certain things, like whenever I buy a game that has like bonus content that you download, she doesn't get the bonus content. So like things like that,
I got you.
like DLCs don't transfer over the same way a
Yeah,
normal title does. And
that's
that's honestly
one
my
thing I
own
don't like.
complaint.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like that they do, where they lock the premium stuff behind buying it. I think that's something that over time they'll evolve and be like, all right, we just got to stop doing it. It doesn't make any sense to do it. They're already here. But I guess they see enough of people say, oh, I do like this game. Let me buy that DLC, that they go ahead and take that extra step. But like EA, for instance, they don't do that with EA, what is it, Origin Access now?
Right.
Like when you have Origin Access, you always get the top tier version of the
Mm-hmm.
game. Same with the Ubisoft Plus. The only thing about all those, though, like you said, is over time, if you don't take advantage of it, you do end up costing yourself money. Like if I only play two games and I end up paying $120 for the year, then I pay for those two games. But if it's a year of only one, then I end up paying $120 for one game. But with Game Pass, you really can't go wrong as long as you take advantage of just the whole portfolio there. That's why I say it's best for kids, because kids consume stuff like that. They bounce around a lot. Us as adults, we only have limited time, so we usually are trying to stick with one or two games, get good
Right.
at that, move as a pack over to the next game, XYZ.
Yeah. And I think another, just before we move along, I think that the other key aspect of Game Pass kind of ties into the earlier story of Sony closing down their stores. There's a lot of developers that are moving away from Sony exclusivity, slowly but surely, and a lot of titles that were previously only found on PlayStation consoles are not only on Xbox, but they're a part of Game Pass. They're included. So you could always just go, oh, cool. Well, they may have stolen my Final Fantasy VII purchase on PS3, but I'm just gonna go and play it on Xbox now because I have that ability. It's crazy, crazy times. I don't know. Hopefully, more people pick up on this, because I think As much as I don't want Sony to fail, I never want Sony to fail. They've been in it and they were industry leaders, still are really, for a long time in the gaming industry. But sometimes you just see the writing on the walls and you're like, come on, who's believing this stuff?
Mm, absolutely.
All right,
What
let's
do we got next here?
next up. We got Reggie Fils-Aimé leaves the GameStop board of directors. Now you can probably talk a lot more about this than I can, Steve.
Yeah, I could talk a lot more, but I'll keep it brief just because I don't want to bore people to death with it. It's a lot of business type news, not really anything that's going to impact gamers. So, a lot of companies, what they do is, if you're a public traded company, you want to have a board of directors that's helping you make decisions, hopefully the right decisions to guide your company. It's not a person that works day to day inside of the company. It's more of like a consulting group. They should be made up of people with an expertise, um, maybe in your direct industry or in some type of industry that could help give you, expertise advice to kind of lead you. And usually what happens is these board directors, they get paid either a monetary sum or they're getting paid off in shares. So
Right.
what we believe happened, and being that Nintendo isn't publicly traded in America, we're not going to be able to find this out ourselves. Or, well, sorry, I said Nintendo. GameStop, we actually can't find about. So let me correct that. So GameStop, they're a publicly traded company. Somewhere you could figure out how many of these shares he actually had at the time that he was appointed. But if you've been following the news, obviously the GameStop stock price has, it's just hard to say that, man.
Yeah,
GameStop stock.
stonks, big stonks.
But the GameStop stock price has skyrocketed over the past few months with the Reddit meme kind of industry that is really driving up the price of the stock. So what people believe happened is that at the time that Reggie joined the board of directors, he was given X number of stocks. Obviously, those have massively increased.
Significantly increased.
Yeah, we're talking like hundreds of percent increase over where they were at the time. So we believe that he wants to leave because part of the agreement, if you're a board of directors, you're not going to be selling off your stock like crazy because it would send investors thinking that there's something seriously wrong with the company if a board director member is selling off a stock. So it's just good.
Right.
It is, for one, it could lead to a lot of like SEC type stuff just from the fact that he would be selling it off. But most likely for optics and everything like that, he's going to leave on good terms. Probably a couple months from now, as quick as possible that he can. He's going to get rid of these so that he can take all that profit in and be a happy guy. In terms of what his role was on the board of directors, we don't know because we're not in those board director meetings. We
Right.
get the stock earning calls, but that's about it. But part of it was probably just public perception, like, hey, we added Reggie. That's going
Yeah.
to help people think we're doing
We
better.
added the big dog from Nintendo of America.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like he knows a lot about running a game company, but he doesn't know a lot about running a retail company.
Right.
So,
Those are
what
very
advice did he
different
really?
worlds. Very different
Yeah,
worlds.
and I mean, Nintendo does have Nintendo stores in Japan. I'm sure Archie, you
Yes.
probably visited one while you were over there, so
So
they do
fun.
have that. But Reggie was Nintendo of America, so there is some advice he can give, but I really think that was more of an optics thing. So this isn't going to hurt them. They brought in new leadership recently. They have a ton of other board director members who are also leaving for probably the exact same reason. They want to cash out, and you're not going to see an impact really to yourself. Man, this keeps falling out, and
Yeah,
Tom told
your
me to watch it
earbuds do
earlier.
keep falling out.
But yeah, GameStop is a sinking ship, man. They need to reevaluate their model, and they need to get smaller. Like, unfortunately, right now you're probably within everybody who's listening, all four of you out there, you're probably 10 minutes within a GameStop, within 10 minutes from a GameStop. And that's the problem. It really shouldn't be. Unfortunately, they kind of have to be those 20, 30-minute places away where it's like, man, this is a destination. Like when you go to a big Best Buy or something like that, like they're not on every other corner because it's a destination. You go there
Because they've been
because,
shutting down left and right.
yeah, it's the same thing. Retail, you got to specialize in something. And
Yeah.
video games is only getting bigger. You just have to adjust yourself from this whole physical media mentality. There's got to be a different way for you to make money without that.
Yeah, and we've kind of talked about the transition to like providing recording services and things like that. If they stay on this current, sorry, I can't talk today. If they stay on this current path, how long do you think until GameStops just start, getting blooped off the maps?
Oh man, it's hard to say. We got to see how they perform this year. Q1 wasn't terrible for them apparently, or I'm sorry, Q4 wasn't terrible for them.
Mm-hmm.
They did underperform based off the results that we got in their earnings call, but that was more so tied to just there being a low demand, or not a low demand, but a low supply of the consoles that
Right.
really hurt them. Where they could have definitely they did lower than their prior year's sales, which is impossible when you have a console release. You know what I mean?
Right. It's
So
hard to do.
yeah, I mean it could be. I would say, man, it could be anytime, honestly, because it depends. Like they could, especially with the stock. So one of the bad things about the stock being so inflated now is they can spend money that they really don't have. Like the that stock price can come crashing down at any point, and you can have investors. Some people who have not been. There's a lot of people who are hands off with their investments. There's people who could
Oh
have
yeah.
bought GameStop who don't even know that all this crazy crap is going on right now because they don't watch it, and they could do crazy things, man. Like it's just again, I don't want to. I could bore people because I'm thinking about all this other like technical stuff in the background of what could happen, but it can get very nasty.
Give us the prime scenario. Like what would be
What we
like
want to
the
happen?
yeah, what would be like the best case scenario for GameStop to happen?
Someone to buy them, honestly, is my opinion. Because as long as you are responsible for success, you're gonna always be chasing that magic carrot, and you can't go an investor call and tell them, hey, we are going smaller, guys. we want to we want to be lean, and we're not going to be as big and as profitable as we were in the past anymore. We're going small. You it just doesn't work. That's why they always have to chase that carrot. That's why they're always doing kind of crazy new, unique kind of takes because they do want to stay in the retail space. I think it takes someone to buy them. Amazon doesn't want them because Amazon doesn't need them. Amazon
Right.
does great with they can do same day delivery, and people know, hey, sometimes they even get here before the release date. Um, so it ain't gonna be Amazon, in my opinion. I think maybe like a Best Buy or something like that. I can't. I just don't.
Man, I don't
That's the
even know
thing.
if
There's
Best Buy
such a
will, because even Best Buy right now, their success over the last several years has not even been in like consumer electronics. It's been in
yeah,
appliances.
yeah, and
That's what
service.
really turned that boat around because there were very similar conversations that we're having today about GameStop. There were about Best Buy just like 5, 6 years ago, and then they flipped the script. They're like, hey, let's get better vendors in our appliance section. And now
Yeah,
you look at the floor space, and it's about a third of their floor space, at least in the
yeah,
ones around us, are all appliance based,
yeah.
appliances
That's
and
a
TVs. That's
yeah,
it.
that's a big thing. And they have another thing Best Buy did too. They have like a I forgot what the exact thing is, but they have this whole thing where they saw what was happening, which was Amazon was saying, hey, people would go into their stores to find out what they want, and then they
Mm-hmm.
would buy it on Amazon. And they changed that to, hey, if you find it on a online retailer's website, you can show us and we'll match the price right here. So
Yeah.
they eliminate a lot of that bullshit. And really, the problem
Which I
for
feel
GameStop
that's like
is,
super anti-competitive. I don't know why
yeah,
that was ever allowed to be a thing.
yeah, just I remember many times that I would try to get like price matches on nothing like anything at Best Buy specifically,
Mm-hmm.
but like retailers, and they always had a problem that like, oh no, we don't. I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy somewhere else, but
Yeah.
goofy.
No,
What was I saying?
I don't mean Best Buy doing the matching on Amazon. I mean the Amazon
Oh
specifically
yeah,
figuring out like, oh, they're at this. Let me knock it down by $2 to save someone
yeah.
gas.
That's their trick, man. I personally, there's some things I won't buy online. Like I'll buy smaller TVs and
Mm-hmm.
monitors, but I won't buy a big TV online anymore.
No, I mean,
I had one that was cracked one time. It took
show it
forever to get
broken.
it returned. Yeah, like wasn't a good thing. But
I'd rather
all
break
right,
it
man.
myself.
What's our last story we got
All
here?
right, last story we got here is thousands of Steam games now let you play with people who don't even have Steam accounts. So
Ooh,
apparently there was a rather quiet update to the remote play together function that's in Steam, which a lot of people don't know about, but there's a ton of games that one friend can buy, can start, and can initiate a play session with a buddy, and you can collectively play on the host PC even if you're
yeah.
not in the area.
It's like
And
couch co-op
right,
over
it's
LAN.
like couch co-op over the internet. And now what the big deal is that your buddy doesn't even have to have Steam. They can just be at their computer and go, oh, let me click this link, and bloop,
Oh
now
wow,
they're in the midst of playing the game with you. I thought that was
that's
pretty
cool.
interesting because I'm always one down for local co-op, and especially nowadays it's harder to do than ever.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I wanted to throw this out there just to let people know, if anything.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's probably it sounds like one of those things that a couple of devs were doing behind the scenes. Like, hey, I think I
Hmm.
can make this work, and they just did it because this isn't something that I remember hearing an announcement that they were working on.
Yeah.
And it's just another friendly thing, you know. So yeah, I'm very impressed by Valve. I don't know if you saw. I can't remember if it was in the final hours thing by Jeff Keeler, if it was somewhere else, but they had a like a walkthrough of their office and everything. And like one of the things I really thought was cool was that all the desks have wheels on them because you don't work for a single team. You don't work
Right.
for under this guy. Like there are no managers, nothing like that. You just take your desk and say, "Hey, I want to start working on this project." And unfortunately, that's why so many of these projects get canceled because people just move their desk away from it at a certain point.
Just
But
bail.
yeah, like literally, we're like, yeah, we've had like 3 or 4 different versions of Half Life already up and running that we were thinking about, but then people's motivations changed. They wanted to go work on a different title, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, they were. I was kind of surprised. I automatically assumed that everyone at Valve was always focused on like new and unique ideas, but there were some
Hmm.
people who were like, "Nah, we wanted to work on the team that was making the most money because obviously that's the team that, and
Right.
like not making the most in their pockets, but like making the company the most money because for them
It
that's like,
looks
hey, I'm
better.
showing my worth." Yeah. Whereas some of the other people are like, I want to do something that's critically acclaimed. So it's just kind of cool. But yeah, I think this is probably one of those little side projects that somebody was working on because it just came out of nowhere and it is such a niche thing because a lot of people, like you said, don't even know about that feature. But this opens it up to a ton of people. And
Yeah.
somewhere's people, the people that still unfortunately work at Stadia are crying, by the way.
I imagine there's a lot of just like people with mops walking around there just mopping up all the tears in the
Yeah.
Stadia offices, like, it was supposed to be great. This was Google. How could we
Yeah.
lose?
Yeah.
Not looking at the trail of dead bodies that's left behind Google at every project they touch.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
All right, so
All
let's
right.
that's all I really had to say about that one. Just wanted to bring it up because it is definitely interesting, especially with families that are trying to keep in touch in random ways. My in-laws and we play Dungeons and Dragons over Discord, so it's just, you
Oh, that's
know,
cool.
it's just an interesting way for us to keep in touch, and this could be one of those different ways that we keep in touch, and I like it. So let's
Good
go
stuff.
to what's on our radar, Steve.
Let's do it. So, oh, you got me up first. All right.
Yeah, I got you
So,
up first.
my if I have any of our Microsoft Flight Simulator fans in the chat tonight, you guys are probably familiar with Aerosoft. For Jordan, they are a development company that solely focuses on simulator titles. So
Hmm.
they also service their own marketplace, and on their marketplace, they provide add-ons for Flight Simulator. And then they also have some of their own published add-ons and games that they make. Some other games that they do are like police type of games, things like that. But this one, the bus, is you are a city bus driver. So you're over in Germany, Berlin, and some other European countries there, and you get to travel through all these places. And I just came across it. I won't spend too much time on it. I think it kind of explains itself. But obviously, you're going to be driving a bus. But I thought just the amount of detail that they have reminds me a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, and it's only like $25. I'm like, this is something I might go ahead and pick up just to have another simulation game to play when I'm a little bored with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm a real, what's the word? Oh well, that was a funny looking woman. I'm a real mark for anything with like passenger ratings and stuff like that. So I can
Right.
already see like that this had a lot of that in it. I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to get that. The only thing I'm missing a steering wheel right now, so I need to
Mm.
I think I might actually grab one of those because I do have a few racing games too that I play.
Yeah, pick up one of those Logitech ones. Man, I can't think of the model number on it right now, but
Yeah,
they're pretty much the high sought after ones.
yeah, oh, yeah, just something like that. It's a little plug and play something because I've got everything else I own is pretty much Logitech. I
Was
think.
TML Studios also a part of that project that you brought up where you were on a plane and you watched different movies and things on that plane, that other sim game.
Um,
What's that
I
game
don't
called? I don't remember.
call it airplane mode. I don't remember the
Oh yeah.
developer's name off the top of my head. You can click right there, right? TML Studios. It tells their other titles.
Yeah, let's see.
So what do they got?
Browse all.
Yeah, so this
Bus.
wasn't them because the airplane mode.
My
Those
Paper
guys.
Boat. Let's go. $5.
My paper boat. Yeah, see
Yeah, no,
these. That's
not
the
there.
cool thing about these simulation companies. They end up doing all simulation type games, but there's really a. It's not a huge industry, but there is a very sizable community for it.
Yeah, I mean, I love a good sim game. Uh, I played I played Truck Simulator America or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. American
Uh,
Truck Simulator.
American Truck Simulator 2018, I think, just as a joke at first. I was like, ha, what kind of game is this going to be? 10 hours later, I'm like, we got to go to Texas now.
Yeah, some of the man that actually is a fan favorite too, and those guys get more like I don't like to say role play because that people think kind of goofy stuff, but like they just really get into it. Like they handle it like a very organized organization, which is
Yeah,
as organized in the word itself already. But anyway, they
there's
just
some
handle it very
very
well. Like
disorganized organizations out
yeah.
there.
But like they'll have like the actual CB radio channels that they chat on and everything. And like it's very immersive. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I like sims that have that added uh what's the term that you use all the time? Something gameplay.
Oh, emergent
Yeah,
gameplay.
emergent
Emergent
gameplay. Yeah, that
gameplay.
happens a lot in the sim worlds, and that those are my favorite. If
Yeah.
I can find a community that is hanging out with any simulator of any kind, I will absolutely jump in there
Yeah.
and do whatever, because it's just fun. It's just fun. It's
Yeah.
added
It's like
added level of funness.
exactly. Yeah. I really like those.
All right, so let's
Good stuff.
see.
So what do you got for us?
I
What's
got
on your
one
radar?
that I think you may have brought up in the past, but it did come up in my queue, so I felt like bringing it back because I had a laugh at it. It was Bum
Oh my
Simulator.
god.
Bum
um
Simulator.
oh, he gets to flick people off? That's one of
Yeah,
his attacks?
that's one of your abilities. So yes, title is what it is. It's a sim game.
Oh my god.
I do not believe it is multiplayer, which is just sad because if you could SMP with just a bunch of other random people
Oh
that
my god.
just
The
pretending to
ragdoll
be
physics.
bums, yeah, that would be perfect. That would be amazing. Like, can you
Oh
imagine if
Jesus.
the Rust community came over to Bum Simulator and
So
just
this why does it look good graphically? I'm so confused. It doesn't look that bad.
this is definitely a
It,
pre-built engine of some sort that they're
it
using,
reminds me a little bit of Postal, in
kind
the
of.
art style a bit.
Hmm.
Can we see what else these guys have come out with? Ragged
Ragged
Games?
Games. Let's see. Let's do browse. I don't care about featured. Mechanic Simulator. All right.
Mech Mechanic Simulator at that.
Mr. Prepper. I might be interested in that. I am your president. Oh, it's just a prologue though. You don't get the whole thing.
Oh my god.
Rover Mechanic. Thief
I have
Simulator. I've seen a ton of this on
yeah,
YouTube
I've heard of that
lately.
one.
Thief Simulator. It looks pretty interesting. Let's see. Mr. Prepper, Car Trader. No, these are all like different random sims. Tank Mech Simulator. Builders of Egypt.
Oh wow.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, this
So
is this is the
nothing.
title that I've seen a lot on
Thief Simulator. Yeah.
what a great idea for a game. Bums. Thanks, Tom.
Bums.
Tom in the
Bums.
chat. All right, let's
Bums.
see here.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't see any other. I mean, this
Car Mechanic Simulator was very popular. I heard of.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if that's the same one or not. There's some car game that people were really crazy about a couple years ago.
that might have been it.
Yeah.
Might have been it
Hmm,
because it
it's
definitely
fun.
looks like it's, and looking at all the previous titles, you can see why the engine has been pretty well tuned to some point, to some degree, that they're just kind of like reskinning it and adding different assets and just slapping a new game out there. Why not? And it's
Yeah.
only, it's a cheap game, cheap games. Some of them are, well, the prologues are free. I don't know if those are playable or not, but who knows. Let's see. Yeah, so Bum Simulator. It looks like a fun time for it's early access and it's coming out soon. So make sure to add it to your wish list.
Q2.
Q2. What is Q2 for Steam, by the way? Is it calendar Q2 or?
I would hope so. Otherwise, people are going to be very
You'd
confused.
be very confused, yeah. I'd imagine you would, in this industry, you would want, the holidays to be in your Q4 to wrap up your year. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and move along to what we did last week. Steve?
All right, so yeah, last week, really getting prepared for this week. I have been playing Elite Dangerous. I've been playing Elite Dangerous, just trying to get myself reused or reacclimated with the controls. Being that I've been playing Flight Simulator for the past, probably I think since October and September of last year, sometime like that. I've gotten so used to the muscle memory of that the first time I tried to load Odyssey, or I keep saying I wanted to say Odyssey, but the first time I tried to load Elite up, I was completely foreign with everything. So I spent like the past week taking a couple nights a week getting used to that again. That update came out today, so as soon as I get off the podcast here tonight, that's what I'm going to be loading up and playing for the rest of the evening. But yeah, that was really it, and then of course all the helicopter stuff and all that's still going on. But
Which I saw your tweet where you made over you and your team have made over 70,000 downloads now.
Yeah,
That's
70,000,
amazing,
man. It's been crazy as hell. I would have never thought it would have blown up this big. We knew it was going to be popular, but I think just seeing the numbers, because we have perspective of seeing. I don't want to say competitors because
right?
we really don't see it as a competition. We're all just making stuff for the sim.
Right.
But the most downloaded thing before that, aircraft wise, was maybe like 20,000 something, maybe like that, and now we're at 70,000. So it's really crazy. But yeah, it's been going good, man. So when I'm not doing that, I'm kind of unloaded and elite, and that's what I'm going to be kind of vacationing for the next week or so here. They're taking an approach of doing phases for their alpha test.
Mm-hmm.
So they said that this is probably going to take 8 weeks total for them to finish from start to finish. So they're phasing out the content over that time period. So we'll see how it goes. But I'll be starting tonight.
Nice. I might actually look into playing that this week. Cuz I don't really have too many other titles other than finishing up Injustice 2. I might give it the download and see what's happening over there.
Yeah, speaking of Injustice, let's talk about that. So that's what you were playing last week.
Yes.
I think we both kind of had the same idea. We saw Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I had thrown in a video into our group chat or our group text message, which was the ending of one of them, one of the endings actually of the game. And I think we all were like, yeah, we probably should go back and play that because you could obviously see so much influence. But tell me, what did you think going through 1 and 2 here?
So Injustice 1, technically it doesn't hold up very well.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I have an ultra wide monitor here and it did not appreciate that even
ugly game.
even remotely. There were times in the game where it would like snap from it was weird. Some of the fighting would occur across the entire screen, and then certain parts of the fighting would not. It would definitely shrink back down to a 16:9 ratio. But it was the first game. I don't even think ultra wides were even a thing at that time of Injustice 1 coming out. But it set up a great story, and a lot of those elements made it into the ending of Zack Snyder's Justice League. You can definitely see the influences from there, from the whole Injustice thing. And I started to play 2, made it a good chunk through. In case anyone hasn't played it, it is available on Game Pass. I was not aware of that until today, so could have saved a little. But yeah, it's up on Game Pass, the standard edition, and that game plays a lot better. It still doesn't really appreciate ultra wides that well, but it was significantly smoother. The graphic quality is great. It's there. It's a great fighting game. I'm not good at fighting games, but it felt good, like to be able to learn the combos in such quick succession and go, oh, okay, this is how it works. But even on easy mode, I was still getting my butt handed to me. Tom said he paid $20 on PS5.
Damn it, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby. Oh man. But yeah, so I don't know how in depth you want to go without spoiling it. I can't imagine that too many
It's
people
a
that are
13-year-old game. God damn
no,
it.
no, I meant the Justice League, the Snyder cut.
Oh, so I don't think it's really spoilers because some of the stuff they've
It was
already
in the
showed.
trailers, yeah.
Yes, we won't spoil the what I will say, we can just help them build up some hype. So if you are a fan of Injustice 1 or Injustice 2, you will really like bits and pieces of the story from Zack Snyder's Justice League. It is
Specifically the
definitely
end bits.
yeah, it is definitely worth and I will be clear, just so no one thinks we're fucking around or nothing. There are no direct connections, there's nothing like
No.
that. There's no scene for scene reenactments, nothing like that. And watching or playing through Injustice 1 and Injustice 2 isn't going to spoil anything for you in Zack Snyder's Justice League or in the reverse. It's just that there's some story beats and some influences that you could definitely see that were taken. And we think that, I think Jordan would agree with me, the benefit of games is that you have so many hours of things that you can put into it. Even though this is a fighting game that probably has cutscenes that are maybe 5-10 minutes at the most, and then you get a little banter before each match. By the time you finish Injustice 1 and Injustice 2, you're like, damn, these are like the best DC stories that I can remember. Like it definitely is in there.
Yeah.
I was never a big DC comic reader. I've read a little bit of Marvel as a kid, not a ton of it. I was more of a fan of the TV shows, the
Hmm.
X-Men, the old Spider-Man, and then DC, the old Super Friends stuff in
The
between. Like,
Adventures of Batman. That was the
yeah,
best Batman.
exactly, that kind of stuff. So seeing this, like, it's always been easy for us, I think, to understand these ideas of different multiverse type interpretations. It's like, okay, this is just the injustice interpretation of these characters, and they handled it very well. Like, I think they handled it better than any of the movies, honestly. Until
Yeah.
Snyder Cut came out, I think they handled the characters in a way where they weren't too corny. Like, even Aquaman, who is full on regular Aquaman, like they didn't make him cool like Jason Momoa or anything, but even
Right.
in there, he's still a badass. Like you're like, oh shit, like Arthur's a badass,
Yeah, you know,
Like he's
he's
not.
still hanging out, still crushing it.
Yeah, and doesn't he do some goofy shit in there if I remember correctly? Like I'm pretty sure there was some animal stuff that he did. I just
In
can't
the
remember
game
off
or
the
in the
top.
movie?
Yeah, in the game, I
Oh,
can't
the
remember off the
game.
top.
Yeah, yeah. There's a
But
ton.
I feel like there's a scene where he comes riding in on a dolphin or something like that. I don't know why I
No,
have
he
that.
comes. So in the first one, around the end, for those who haven't played Injustice 1, Superman's the bad guy in this other alternate universe that you get sucked over into, and your world's version of Aquaman lays a beat down on their version of Aquaman, and then just to assert dominance, he just summons this crustacean army out of the sea to just attack. Actually, looking back, thinking about it now, it's very reminiscent to what happened in the Aquaman movie,
Oh really?
where he just summons all those ancient crustacean enemies,
Yeah,
and they fight for him. It was
yeah,
kind of a cool scene. But
yeah,
obviously,
and
because it was very old, it's like, okay, it's the same model 1,800 times.
yeah. One of the and that's one of the things I liked about Zack Snyder's Justice League. In the press leading up to it and stuff, once the press got the reviews and they start talking about some of the beats that we're talking about that are kind of similar between those two,
Hmm.
he straight up said, he's like, yeah, he's like, I love the Injustice games. Like, I definitely got some influence from those, and I think that's cool because a lot of people, what they do is they say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do a movie about XYZ character or XYZ story, but they avoid any other interpretation of it because they're like, no, I just want to. It's kind of like with their nose up is how I feel.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to do what anyone else has done. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm like, do your own thing, but listen to the fans and also look and see what other people have done because you can see what didn't work for them or what did
Right.
work, and maybe you could draw some inspiration. Like, I get the whole thing about you don't want to be perceived as ripping off somebody else, but you. This is a perfect example. Like when you watch the movie in close proximity to playing the game, you definitely see the influence that Injustice had, and it's a better movie overall because of that. If you ask
Oh, absolutely. I would 100% agree with you, because especially around the time when, and this happened in the original Justice League film too, when the box is about to drop into the water in the main ship,
me, oh yeah,
in Clark's ship. Um, the additional piece that we got in the Snyder cut was like a weird premonition that Cyborg got.
yeah.
And in that premonition is where a lot of the influences start showing up.
Yeah, and we
And
can actually we can talk about that because this. again, it's something that's in the first movie. You're right.
Right.
It's actually even it's in Batman versus Superman when Flash shows up and he tells Batman
Lois is the
who's Bruce.
key.
Yeah, and that is what the Injustice 1 and 2 games center around, is like, hey, this is what happens when things go bad with Lois, you know?
Yeah, it's the intro still. So the intro to the game, I kind of messed up in my head thinking that it was better than it was. But that's because the game introduced me to the Injustice storyline, and
Yeah.
I went out and got the Injustice graphic novel, and the intro in there is so much more graphic and so much more uh, real and raw feeling that it, it's something that's hard to forget because it's just
Yeah.
you can see his emotions and everything, and you can feel the pain that Superman's going through, and you're like, okay, like
Yeah.
obviously I don't support you ripping the
And you're
Joker's
scared
heart
because
out.
you're like, oh shit, shit's about to go fucking down.
Yeah,
Like
oh
Superman's
shit is a
pissed.
very real emotion you're feeling throughout the
Yeah.
majority of Injustice storyline.
They made Superman a cool fucking character. Like he's so lame to me, and everything else, like even in Man vs. Steel, like obviously he's a badass, he's snapping necks and shit, but they just made him so he's always like a boy scout to me, but you don't have that in the Justice telling of him. Like he is a true badass, and you see like this is what this motherfucker could really do with his power unleashed. This is what Batman was talking about when he's saying, you know, if there's even a 1.2.3% chance, we must take it as an absolute
Right.
certainty, you
The
know.
absolute certainty.
It's
It's
so
like I'm not sure
I
how that
fucking
math
hate that
works
scene.
out, but
I hate that fucking scene. Like he was trying so hard to, like, poor Ben. He tried. Everything else about him was perfect. Just that one scene that I didn't really care for. Um, the bibbidi bop bazoo bop 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 bop. It says something about Anakin. A bunch of. If you're gonna pick a quote, you got to pick the Anakin. You're supposed to be the chosen one, the one that was supposed to bring force to the or bring balance to the force, not destroy it. You know, that's what you got to come with. Not this is pod racing. Now this is pod racing.
Oh Lord.
uh, Tom here has some sympathies for the Joker. I don't. The way,
Oh,
and I love the way
so
he did it too. It was perfect.
we can talk about Joker because he is in the commercial for it.
Yes.
Obviously, you get a much more clear impression of what direction he's trying
Yeah.
to take Jared Leto's Joker in. But I appreciated it, and there are so many subtle nuances to the conversation between him and Batman that you're just like, oh man, like it felt because sometimes you're
Yeah.
introduced to a relationship in a movie and it's like, oh ha 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 this and ha 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 that, and it's
Yeah.
like a bunch of inside jokes, but the conversation between Bruce and the Joker in that last little bit of the, I guess it wasn't really a post credit scene, but it
Yeah.
had
They
that
call it
same
an
energy.
epilogue
Yeah, an
in the
epilogue.
movie.
You could feel the tension and relationship between the two,
Yeah.
and how strong yet fragile that relationship was. And I mean, the scene unfolded in a matter of what, like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
that conversation between the two of them.
Oh, it was so good.
So it's
My
so
favorite
so
part of the
good.
movie. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, the prologue was
That and
absolutely my favorite part.
yeah, and I enjoy villains so much more too. So that's always gonna probably win me over because even that Deathstroke scene, like I don't really care for what they did with Lex, but even that scene where he's like, yeah, you know, they changed the dialogue from what it was in the first movie, actually, what it was in the original theater release. So I was kind of surprised that they even changed it because when you see the scene, you're like, oh, this is the exact same thing, but then you hear like the differences. But I love that. I love what he did with the end. Like, and it when you think back to Injustice again, like especially that epilogue, like
Yeah.
so much of what happens in that game is the same. Like some unexpected stuff that you wouldn't expect to see. That we won't spoil for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just go watch it. It is definitely. Um, I have not. There's not a single person that I've talked to about the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, who has said that they didn't think that this was a ton better than the original. Everyone is, and even people who were like, "Oh, I hated the original," like they watched this like, "Oh, I see." Like they actually feel bad for Zack Snyder now. They're like, "We really didn't give him a chance. Like he wasn't batshit crazy. Like he really did take that feedback from Batman versus Superman to
Yeah.
heart. It's a much lighter movie. It's not nearly as dark. It's genuinely funny at times. It's missing one of the scenes I like from the original Justice League, which is just
Oh,
that
you're
one
right.
where where Aquaman's sitting on the rope and he's like, "Man, I'm fucking scared," like all that stuff. Like I thought that was a funny scene, but they don't have that, so that was obviously a scene that Joss Whedon reshot himself,
Right.
which is why it didn't appear in this. But I thought it was a great movie, and again, just seeing those Injustice influences makes me want a new Injustice game,
Yeah, it
which
makes
I
me want a
think
new
we
Injustice game, and it also makes me incredibly sad because I know that Warner Brothers will screw this up completely.
yeah. I
Uh,
think we'll get one because they'll give it back to Netherlands Studios, because they
oh
already have
yeah,
that relationship with them. So I think they'll do fine with that. This new person who's taken over at WB, they're very much about they just want to express or explore the idea of the multiverse. They said they're done kind of trying to chase Marvel's, huge history of
formula.
having every movie be connected, all that. They're like, hey, we're gonna let the TVs do what they want, the movies can do what they want, the games can do what they want. Like, we'll try to tie some of the stuff together when it makes sense to. But hey, Eric, long
Hey
time no
Eric.
see. I haven't seen him for a couple days. But yeah, so I think I'm very happy with it. Tom talked in chat, said that he was very happy. He actually said that when he promised him that he was gonna fucking kill him, it gave him goosebumps.
It was
A
such
little,
a good scene. Such a good scene.
well, that was that whole thing, man. I won't watch it again because it was 4 hours long, but it's
Hmm.
one of those things that I have in the back of my mind now. At least I can say I saw it. He did a good job. I just wish that he could do another one. I just wish he would get. I don't even care about another Justice League movie. I just want the Batman movie. I want the
Right.
Batman versus Deathstroke movie. That's all I fucking would like. I know that Robert Pattinson is going to do good. Like they wouldn't have hired him if he
I
was
hope
going to do
so.
good in it. I just think,
The
uh,
trailer is good for it, and I hope it
yeah,
keeps up the energy.
well, we'll see. I'm more excited about the villains. Again, if the villains are good, then I'll be cool with it. They said it's going to be more of a detective like drama, so I think this is going to be the first one where it's like, oh, you're not caught up in the spectacle of Batman. You're like really engaged with the story because that's one thing I will say. None of the stories have ever really been like that engaging to me. Like Batman
Right.
Begins, I literally when I saw that in theaters the first time, I fell asleep and I woke up like when he finally got back to Gotham, and I was like, this is still fucking boring, because he didn't even have the suit yet. It was
Right.
just and then Dark Knight, great, but I think people like it for the wrong reason. Everyone was like Joker, who he was good, but I actually thought the story of Aaron Eckhart, Two Face was better. To
Right.
be completely honest, I think he has a real story arc. Like damn, he went from what he was doing to look at this.
He went
Whereas
from
Joker, he's
DA
just
to bad
yeah, Joker's
guy.
just fucking crazy. Like okay, he's chaotic, I get it. And Bane was just the best. I'm sorry, Bane gets it because of the voice. Like the voice is so good, man.
It was so meme worthy. So meme
Yeah,
worthy.
the movie is fucking garbage. Like really, it's the worst of the
Yeah,
three in my opinion.
absolutely.
Well, I don't like Batman Begins either. It's hard to say. But yeah, I think they'll do a good job. I've been ranting about Batman long enough though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
man. So I know that WB Warner Brothers is wanting to allow different creative minds to take over these narratives and go, tell the story you want to tell. But I think it might be an overcorrection. Like, of course, no one wants to be left in the shadow. And Marvel has definitely built quite the empire behind themselves with the Endgame saga and all the other phases prior to it being all very interconnected to one another. But I think they're kind of correcting themselves too hard. That they should absolutely keep at least some type of core main universe and allow there to be a specific um a specific head to all of that creative decision making, like a Kevin Feige type setup over in Warner
Yeah.
Brothers, like someone
Like
that
a Kevin Smith.
sure.
Man, do you ever watch Fat Man on Batman or Fat
I've
Man
seen a
Beyond?
couple of episodes, yeah.
Like his so he's good, but his partner, Mark Bernard, like that
Hmm.
guy, just some of the stories, like he'll watch a movie, then he'll be like, but if they had done this instead, and he'll be like, God damn, like that is so
Why
much of a
didn't
better
they?
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they need I think it's too many suits writing, like not writing the movies, but I think people come in with a good idea. It gets to a suit, and that's really what happened with Justice League. Now that we know is that
Yeah.
suits saw it and we're like, this is too long. People aren't going to sit for that and watch it. Where really, what they could do, they could have made it a made it a 3 hour movie and it would have probably been fine. You know, there was some stuff that could have been cut, a lot of the slow down scenes and shit. That could have been a perfect 3 hour movie in my opinion. I do
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, it
I
absolutely could have been.
because it was 4 with a little bit of stuff I could have like. I didn't think there was anything I'm like, oh, cut that. I just think that you probably could have trimmed some stuff down to make it about 3 hours.
Yeah, I think if they had gone through with the dual movie situation where they allowed him to release, you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League 1 and Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, I think that probably could have been the better road. But I knew that WB was just like, listen, the internet's angry with us. We saw what they did to Sonic. Let's just do whatever the easiest way is to get from point A to point B here. And we'll keep on doing the terrible decision making that we're used to down
Sonic
the road.
was a miracle.
Sonic
Goddamn,
was a miracle.
I'm so glad that turned out well because that movie was the last movie that me and my girlfriend saw in COVID.
Yep.
The COVID or before COVID really hit.
Yeah, because that was like February 10th or something. Oh, 13th,
it came out
yeah.
on Valentine's Day. Yeah,
that's true.
And that was the last movie we saw in theaters. So, for whatever reason, you know, if theaters never open up again, I could at least say, you know, the last movie I ever saw in a movie theater was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, our theaters are back open, for better or for worse. Well, our theaters are definitely back open.
That's if AMC can survive. Who knows? Although I like, I think you and me both like the same place. We like that. Do you go to the hell is it? The place off of? Never mind. This is gonna be boring for nobody who.
Oh, Escape.
Yeah.
I go to Escape all the time. Not lately, but you know, prior to all this shenanigans, yes, I was always there.
Good. Well, hey guys, that's it for all the news this week.
Yep.
We're gonna wrap up the news and we're gonna play America's favorite game show, Video Game 20 Questions. The score has been very bad. Jordan has won one out of
one out of many. 3, I think.
Yeah, we'll go back one day and figure out the tally. I'm still at 0. This week's game was actually submitted by a viewer though, Jordan. Came from Tom the Greek 34. Our good buddy Tom there. And I'm gonna tell you,
great.
I don't think you're gonna get it. Like usually I have hope for you. The reason why is this one is it's a very hard game because it's got a weird stipulation to the release. So
a weird stipulation to the release.
Yeah, I think there's something with how this game was released that's going to throw you for a loop. So there's a hint there, especially when it comes to the year of release.
Oh, okay. That's definitely going to make it a little odd. All right. Well, then I'll just not start with that one. Is it a action? Well, no, we don't like that.
We don't like that.
We don't like that tree. Is it a shooter title?
The game is primarily a third-person shooter, but I'll give you this: you do have there are other game play mechanics that cause you to have different
perspectives and things. Okay, so it's predominantly third-person shooter.
Yep.
But it does move around, probably because of vehicles and whatnot. Okay. Is this a do you spend the majority of your time in a vehicle?
No, not a majority.
Not a majority. Okay, so that's 2 questions. All right, so it's a third-person shooter, and it is not majority in a vehicle. All right.
Yeah, I'll say 25% though.
25. Okay. 25%. Is the game a Nintendo exclusive?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. So it used to be a Nintendo exclusive, but it's not anymore.
Yes, for a very short period of time, it was a Nintendo exclusive.
And it was a third-person shooter? Third-person. Wow.
Okay. Time period might help you out on this one.
Yeah, okay, so is it a World War II era?
Um, I can give you such a good hint right now. I'm gonna let you re-ask that question though. When I said time period, I meant like
Like
the time.
release?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'll give you a I'll give you a freebie so you can ask that question. So the time period thing, it is not a realistic time period, but if you were to ask somebody within this universe when the story happened, they would tell you, a, God damn it, I can't remember. A long, long time ago is what they would say. 1 second. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
Now,
Yeah,
when you
they would
say
tell
third
you
person, do you mean like over the shoulder third person or like completely different camera angle?
completely different camera angle, like third person.
Oh man.
Um, and people
Okay.
would say that this happened a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Okay, so it's obviously it's a Star Wars title then.
I
Um
got you there.
that was that was a Nintendo exclusive, but not for long.
Yeah, and that should help you out a ton because there are some very notable Nintendo Star Wars games.
Just to get it out of the way, is it part of the Lego series games?
No, sir.
No, not a Lego series games. Okay. So Star Wars hmm was on Nintendo but is no longer on Nintendo. Man, okay, so was it released in the last 5 years? The re-release that's not on
Yes.
Nintendo? Oh man, that's terrible. I'm not going to be able to get this. Um third person shooter, not over the shoulder. Is it like fixed camera third person? Not
Mm,
like fixed, but like you don't have the ability to control the camera.
I really don't know because of how old the game was, and it's not one that I can visually remember. I would think Tom says yes, you can. So you could trust Tom if you want, and I won't charge you a question because I
Okay.
don't know the answer.
No, I'll charge me a question. It was a I got an answer from it. Um man, okay, so the original is old enough that you can't even remember, but the re-release has happened in the last 5 years. Was the original on the Nintendo 64?
It was.
Okay. Okay, hang on. Hang on. All right. Now I'm back on track here. Uh wasn't vehicle based. So it's not Pod Racer, it's not Rogue Squadron. Oh,
No, this is pod racing.
is this game?
He's gonna get it, Tom.
Oh,
That's
but it was re-released and I don't know what ones have been re-released lately. Um damn.
Tom. He's got it. He's got it, Tom.
Is it is the word dark in the title? In the full title?
No, sir.
No.
I
Okay.
don't even know what game you're talking about.
So there's a game called Star Wars like Dark Squad or something like that. My brother and I used to play it, and you were basically a not a bounty hunter, but I mean it was some weird side story in the Star Wars universe. Um,
Dark Squad.
uh, see now you're gonna make me look that game up just to be sure, but I don't want to cheat, so I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, you're not lying. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not, it's a game we had. Oh damn.
We'll talk about it after this.
Okay.
Oh, Dark Forces is what.
Dark Forces. Okay. Yeah,
There
yeah,
you go. Oh, you're
yeah.
talking about PC.
No, this game was definitely on N64.
Dark Forces came on. Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I don't know if it's Dark Forces specifically, but damn,
So
we
I
had
was
a
correct.
no, because that was definitely a first person game.
No, I think you know the game. I just think you don't know the. I don't think you know the title. That's what I believe based off something you said.
Um,
I think you definitely know the game.
third person shooter. You can control the camera. It's originally the N64 era. been re-released in the last 5 years. It's not Star Wars Bounty Hunters, is it?
No, sir.
No.
Is that a real game? Are you
I
just
don't
making
I
up
don't think
games
that
now?
no, that wasn't on 64. That was on
Oh,
something
that
else, I
was.
think.
Yeah, I can remember the title now. That was a PlayStation 2 era game.
Yeah.
It was
Oh man,
2002.
I quit marking down. How many questions do you have marked down for me? I have 8, but I think I'm
Okay,
down
we'll
one.
go with it. We'll say 8. That works for me.
But okay. Did you play as a Jedi?
No, sir.
No, sir. All right. Did you I don't know if I'm going to get this, Tom. That was question number 9, Tom. Let's see. Do you have a set character that you play as throughout the entire game?
You certainly do.
And you're not a Jedi.
And this character is pretty infamous now.
Do you play as Han Solo?
No, sir.
Okay, well that was 10.
But no one will fault you for believing that it may have been him if you were a young child. That's not a hint. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
For me, I feel that way, but maybe not everyone else would. So,
man. But do you play as a bounty hunter?
Yes, but the word that the game would use would be mercenary, but same difference.
Oh man. I feel like I can see this game, and
I know you know the game. You've said enough for me to know that you know the game. You just don't know the title.
Yes.
Dark Forces, Bounty Hunter, Lego Princess. What else you got for us, Archie?
I had most of the Star Wars games back in the N64 era.
Oh, you definitely had this game. You didn't have a Nintendo 64 and not have this game.
Damn. I don't know. I played the hell out of some Rogue Squadron though, for most of it. So that was 11. Damn. So you play as someone. So you do play as a mercenary. So Squid Twitch, the clues were it's a game that was originally released on the N64 as a Nintendo exclusive. And but it did get re-released within the last 5 years. Steve, so question number 12, was the re-release only for PC?
It was.
Okay, so it's a PC only re-release. It is a Star Wars title of some sort, and
third
person, you can control the camera. Vehicle. There's some vehicle usage, and that's pretty much
originally exclusive to 64. Did you already say that one?
Yes. Yeah. And you do not play as a Jedi. You play as a mercenary, specifically, which makes me think that mercenary might be in the title somehow. But I don't know that for a fact. I don't think there was. I don't know if there was a mercenary Star Wars game. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, I'm just gonna keep asking questions. Can you customize your character?
I do not recall. I would believe not, though.
Okay, so pretty locked in character. Is damn. So it's a locked in character, and
Star Wars Dark Princess.
That's going to be the new release on
Someone needs
the
to make
on the
that
Twitch,
for real, no.
on the Switch. Damn. Okay, so
we can call that Star Battles, and then that's how we'll get around the copyright infringement.
There you go.
Star Battles.
Dark
Battles. Princess Bounty Hunter.
Sky Wars.
Sky Wars.
Oh man. Yeah, so Thomas confirmed no customization.
So that was 12 you were at?
That's 13.
Oh wow.
So I'm just
I
gonna
know you
keep.
know the game. You just
I
got to get
I
the
know.
title
I
out.
just don't know how to. Is is the word mercenaries in the title?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Uh, is the word Star Wars in the title?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are like 2 or 3 games that do not actually have Star Wars in the title,
Oh, that's funny.
but are Star Wars canon on the
Those sneaky
N64.
Star Wars games.
Um, so Star Wars is in the title. Is it titled after one of the movies, like it or one of the original trilogies or prequels? Part of the title?
Um, part of the title?
Yes. So like,
One word
no.
matches the
No,
okay.
no. I mean, like, it's not like Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, Mercenary
Oh no.
Hunter, nothing like
Nope,
that.
it's not a I'll help you there because I know what you're trying to ask. It is not a direct tie-in to any of the movies
Not a
and does
direct
not share a
tie-in.
title with any of them.
Okay. Um. Jesus. If
I give
it.
you it's time for a hint for you.
Okay. Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned dark forces.
Mm-hmm.
There's another word that sometimes people think of when, darkness, kind of associated with darkness.
Sith.
No.
Knight.
Nah, nothing specifically related to like Star Wars, just something that you might think of that might be associated with darkness.
Darkness. We already said stars. That's part of the main
Yeah.
title.
Okay. Here's
Uh.
another hint. Think Star Wars something. Think of something. That was a great hint, right?
Just think of the title. It's that easy.
No.
Uh,
So you've got all these different factions in Star Wars. Think of that, like the different groups that have
man.
their kind of, they all like to have a little title to them. We're the this, we're the that. Think of that. Some of that's in the title.
So Thomas says black. Is that the right
What are you
path?
trying to say, Tom?
Yeah, Tom.
Um, Not really. It's not. It is. It's associated with this type of group though, so that should help a little. So your title is going to be associated a little bit with darkness and blackness and things. Good hint.
Here's the
There's
title:
a.
blank colon blank.
Oh, I thought he was trying to say there's a
Colons.
what is that? A snowman belly is in the
Snowman
title.
belly. It's a sideways sandwich of some sort. Pickles only. Man, Jesus, I don't know.
You're so close.
I
You
I
got
can
N64. The sad thing is you know the game because you said
I do know
everything
the
you said.
game.
You know what the game is. You just don't know the title.
I know exactly this game. It was a Blockbuster rental game that I had.
A
I
blockbuster rental.
I didn't even own this one.
Man,
That's probably why I
what's your
can't
favorite
remember the
Star
name.
Wars movie while we're here from the original?
From
The original trilogy.
from the original trilogy?
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be the second one. Like Alderaan blowing up, the best ending to a movie.
Hmm.
Are you trying to
Hmm.
see if it's correlated to that at all?
No, because you said the. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Just curious. Just
Okay.
curious.
Okay. So I only have 3 questions left. Um. It says it's something like dark. Does the subtitle, so Star Wars colon, does the subtitle have 3 words? Or yeah, I guess I have to answer it in yes or no questions.
You said 3 words. No.
Well, I mean that could be 4 syllables, could be 2 words.
Star Wars blank 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 blank. You got 4 words. Star Wars 4 words. That's what you got.
4 words.
Here's another hint. The best movie is the one you named. The second movie.
Yeah, it's definitely
They have something in common with the title. Here's a hint if it's
Return of the
okay.
Sith.
what what movie
I,
was that?
I don't know. I mean, you
It
well,
takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So what the hell was the Empire doing in between those movies? Maybe they were hiding somewhere? Maybe hiding in the darkness? Maybe hiding in the I I gave this guy a good tip. Archie can feel it on the tip of his lung. This is what Squid said.
oh
Hiding in
man,
plain day.
jeez,
How many questions, Archie? Where you at?
is huh?
Where you at?
I have two more.
Oof.
I'll trade both of those in for a hint, and then I'll guess.
We gave you so many.
I know I can't.
Okay.
I'm
I got
definitely
one.
chalking this up as an L because I can't believe that I know so much about this game except its title.
Okay, I got a hint for you.
Okay,
The title has Empire in it.
Return of the Empire.
You got one more. That was 19.
The Empire Strikes Back.
That's your final answer.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
Do
We'll
you
be here
remember
all
playing a
night.
game called The Empire Strikes Back?
I don't know. And it has nothing to do with darkness. So
That was the movie.
I know.
Oh man. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So the hint for the darkness. Hide in what can you hide in? You hide in the shadows. The name of
Shadows.
this game? Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire. Takes
Shadows.
place. So Shadows of the Empire was originally released in 1996 for the Nintendo 64. It was an exclusive for almost a year as the first PC release came out in September of 1997. And then in 2016, Good Old Games did a re release of it to give it official Windows 10 and 64-bit support. So that's
Shadow of
why
the
the
Empire. I've definitely played this game.
Yeah, so you had all. I know you played it because you talked about the mercenaries and the bounty hunting, which is why I said it probably wouldn't be as a kid. I remember being kind of confused with who this character was. I thought it was Luke, or not Luke. I thought it was Han Solo because he kind of looked like him with the attire and everything that he wore. But you played as Dash Retnar, who was actually helping Luke rescue Princess Leia from Prince Zior, who,
Yep.
again, this is some story, I guess, that took place between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yep. This one
Um,
I have definitely played this one.
yep, this was a good game. I don't remember liking this one as much as I liked the Rogue Squadron game because I liked that those games had more of a Star Wars feel to them. Like this one, aside from the locales, you were playing with guns and you got to ride the speeders and stuff like that a little bit.
Right.
But I definitely liked Battle for Naboo and the Rogue Squadron and all those games a little better than this one.
Battle for Naboo was a great one. That was another one that I spent a lot of time on.
Yeah, that one was very high production value compared to Rogue Squadron.
Very. Oh god. Unlike this freaking thumbnail, it's all of 16 by
Yeah.
16 pixels.
But hey, man, good job. I think you would have got it if you had just remembered the name of the game. You would have probably got a like question 10 or something. So
Something. I felt pretty close about it. The moment I was like, "Oh, is this an N64 game?" I was like, "Oh, I got this." And then my
yeah,
next question was, "Oh shit, what's the title of this?" And I could
yeah,
not bring it into realization. All right, but that was a great pick though. I mean, even
good
though
job, Tom.
yeah, good job, Thomas. Even though Thomas thought I wasn't gonna get it, and I didn't, I got pretty dang close to it. Man,
Good stuff.
Shadows of the Empire. I remember playing this one, but I don't remember enjoying it too much, and that's probably why I don't remember the title.
Yeah, it wasn't one of my favorites. Like they had the Star Wars license, but they didn't do any Jedi stuff or anything like that. So I didn't
Yeah,
really
it was like
play it.
I mean, even from the look of it over here, it looks like a Doom ripoff almost.
Yeah.
We have banthas all over the place. All right, well, that was a great episode, Steve. Great 20 Qs, great news. So everyone, go ahead and if you join late, we will have the recording up on YouTube Just search on there for this guy Archie, and we'll have it up there tomorrow around 5 o'clock ish. And thanks Squid Twitch for the follow. Thank you. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you all. Steve, you have anything you wanna plug before we bounce?
No, nothing here at all. Of course, our Discord, we'll drop that in the chat if I can grab it really quick. But yeah, guys, this is episode 9, so we'll be hitting episode 10 next week. So thank you guys that have been showing up week after week to
Yes,
watch
thank
us and
you.
support us. Trying to get Archie his affiliate status, which will help us get a little better placement on the front page and get even more people watching, get more feedback, so we have better questions and things each week to discuss. And of course, we could take some news to hear what you guys really want to hear about. So
Yeah,
hope to see you
absolutely.
next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. Y'all have a great week. See you next week.
Adios.
Peace.